So you've just gone and got yourself a brand new energizer. You're all set up for strip grazing. You want to do it because it's good for the land, but you don't know how. Who can you ask? Well, it turns out the territory managers from Gallagher are farmers themselves. So I've come out here to Tasmania to see Justin Cooper on his 200 acres of... Justin, this is glorious country, mate.
It's pretty great, Tim. It's pretty great. Can get a little bit brutal in winter, but you know, yeah, it's pretty good.
Mate, your maiden heifer's just behind us. You've got 3 mobs of cattle out here at the moment. Your maiden heifers are looking absolutely superb. And you're practicing good first principles of rotational grazing to do that with a bit of supplementary feeding. It's not as hard as people think it is to get the basics right. You're going to take us through it today.
Yeah, more than happy to take you through it, Tim. Show you how I use it in my enterprise and how other people can use it in their enterprises to, you know, get the best value out of the land they hold.
So smash that subscribe button right now. Go make yourselves a cup of tea. Let's get into strip grazing for profitability. Now, Justin, the first point you want to make is it's not always about increasing the weight of the animals when you're managing pasture. You're actually holding these girls back a little bit at the moment.
Yeah, that's right. We're about 4 weeks off the point of calving, and they're probably around a condition score 4. Ideally, I'd love to drop them back to a 3, 3.5, just to try and manage that calving a little bit easier. So yeah, I'm really using it to hold them up a little bit at the moment. It's all about allocating pasture, and it can be, you know, you might want them in a positive or a deficit. So these particular girls, I'd like to see them in a deficit.
And there's also a good point to make. We're in the middle of winter, but good pasture management is still required because you're in a green drought at the moment here in Tassie, aren't you?
That's right, yeah. Rain has been pretty spotty here for the last 6 months. It's actually, we had a reasonable autumn and I was lucky I could grow quite a big feed bank, but that feed bank's got to last me until early October, until I get to my break-even date again. So yeah, it's a matter of allocating that pasture and being wise with it, and hopefully not having to supplement feed too much.
Well, let's have a look at the start of this process when you analyse a paddock and start from step 1, estimating the size.
That's right, and we've got some pretty simple little tools. I use MeasureMap, a very basic app, to measure all my paddocks, so I can, you know, let you know what size the paddocks are, and we can work our way back from there. So strip grazing is an extremely cost-effective way of managing your pasture. I'm in a situation here where I've got quite a large feed bank built up, but I've got cattle that I'm actually trying to pull a little bit of weight off. So I'm trying to slow their rotation down. Now there's a couple of ways I can do this to make sure that I actually get what they require. These are cows that are pregnant, so I need to keep that in mind. So it's all about pasture allocation. So what I need to do first is work out how much grass or dry matter to the hectare I actually have. So a hectare is 100 metres by 100 metres, which is 10,000 square metres. This fence here is 200 metres long, so every time I move this fence across 50 metres, that's a hectare. So now that we've worked out what a hectare is, we've got this handy dandy little ruler that can actually help us work out how much dry matter we've got. And it's as simple as taking it on the front side and sticking it in your pasture. So to get an effective measurement, you actually want to walk across the paddock, because I'm at a really great little spot here, but if I come down here, as you can see, we've got a bit of a bare patch. So it pays to work your way back across the paddock and get an average. So I estimate that I have around 2,200 kilos of dry matter to the hectare here currently. So now that I know how much dry matter to the hectare I have, now I've got to work out what the requirements are for my animals. So you can spin it over and I'll actually tell you here how many kilojoules each different class of stock requires. Once you've worked that out, you can go to the MLA website and they will help you there with some pasture calculators to actually tell you how much dry matter per hectare per day those animals will need.
Go.
So now that I've worked out how much feed is required per animal, now I can work out how many animals in the mob and then how far I have to move this fence across per day. So there's a couple of different ways you can strip graze, and today I'm going to show you the 2 most popular. So the first one is what I like to call creep feeding. So these guys are just getting a small slither a day, roughly 3 metres, so I'm just going to work my way down along this fence and move it across. Come along. So with this method, you end up having to move the reel, but only every 2 or 3 days. And that's creep feeding, done and dusted. This next method is what I call leap feeding, and it's a safer way to give larger allocations of feed. This requires 2 reels. As you can see, I've got one holding the cattle down there as it is, and another one here. I'm going to run this one across the paddock and then pick up the other one and pack it up. Always have the 2 reels on opposing fences, that way you're not having to walk back. So I'll run these tread-ins out with this reel on the way out and pack the other one up on the way back. Now that's leap feeding, nice and easy, nice and safe. So I've calculated there's about 2,000 kilos of dry matter to the hectare here at about 800 kilojoules. This is new pasture, so you just want to keep in mind if it's older pasture, it could be up to 50% less. I'm just going to leave this here because I'll have to be back in 2 days to give them the next lot of allocation.
So Justin, people need not be too scared of strip grazing. There are some basic, simple calculations and there are resources available. There's also a really good course people can do that you recommend?
Yeah, I've done a course in the past, it's called Pasture Principles, and I got a lot out of it. So, you know, people should really look into what's happening in their area. It is a little bit specific to the area you live in with different pasture bases and all that, but there's plenty of resources out there.
The main thing is, don't be scared of it, get going, have a go. The more you do it, the more you learn.
That's right. There is a few tips and tricks that you'll learn along the way, but it's well worth it. It's something that I really value in my enterprise.
Well, thanks very much for having us out here, mate. And it's good to know that the guy that sells the product uses the product.
That's exactly right.
Not always the case.
That's not always the case.
But in this case, good gear, good principles, great livestock, beautiful location. Guys, if you like this kind of video and you want more of this, and of course you do, hit the subscribe button, give it a thumbs up. We'll see you next week.
So the next method I'm going to show you is called leap feeding. This is a safer way to talk.
He's all right, you won't hear it. You won't hear it. Just look at his dick and...
Yeah.